Here, let's contrast the concept of polyphenism and polymorphism. Although in some literature, these two are used interchangeably, but we do want to be particular with our language. So polymorphism is an instance where one genotype can express themselves differently phenotypically. So one genotype can have phenotype A, B, and C, for example, and typically this would be driven by the environment. Whereas if we were very, very strict with the definition of a polymorphism, that actually goes down to the different genomorph, right? The different genotypes. So a lot of the phenotypes that you see expressed typically in one population is a result of different genotypes already within that population. So sometimes there's some confusion here, but we want to be strict with our language and we want to use polyphenism in its right context, which is one genotype leading to multiple phenotypes, and polymorphism in its correct context, which is multiple genotypes and therefore multiple phenotypes, but then can occur in the same population of the species, which is where the classic example of heliconius butterflies, they actually are a polyphenism where they are a single genotype with the ability to morph into many, many different geographical forms. There is, of course, a Pokemon that was inspired by this concept, which in the literature has been described as a polymorphism, but that's not quite right? So we would describe this context as either polyphenism or environmental polymorphism, because what it's saying here is that the environment has an impact on the phenotype that we see, which is of course more often than not the case, but the underlying genetic basis is an important distinction here. Now, why this is crucial is when we start thinking about evolutionary biology and passing down genes from one generation to the other, there are implications of a population that has a polyphenic context versus a polymorphic context, because you would assume that genetic diversity and genetic variation would be different, and that has a consequence on the diversity of phenotypes that get expressed.